Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have a story titled, I, 42 female, cheated on my husband, 44 male, 4 months ago and came clean, but he refuses a decision. I'm thinking about an ultimatum. Now in today's video, I'm so sorry if you're going to hear noise everywhere. Everyone in my family is doing something and I just bumped the camera. Everyone in my family is doing something and they're being noisy, as you can hear. I need to film a lot of videos today, so I'm sorry about the noise in the background. I'm sure you can already hear that there's always cars because there's a car right across the road from me. So there's always a bit of noise in these videos, but today there's extra noise. Anyways, before we get into the video, just want to remind you of the Patreon channel. The link is in the description if you want to check that out. There is more videos over there that basically have stories that I cannot read on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, head over, check it out. And with that being said, we'll get straight into the video. Me and my husband are married for a long time and have a 10-year-old son together. When we ever did something right, it's him. 4 months ago, I came clean to my husband about me having an affair with a co-worker. There's a lot of co-workers, managers, bosses happening lately in these cheating stories. The story is as old as the world. I missed the feeling of being desirable, feminine, acknowledged, and that co-worker gave me what I needed. Okay. It's always the same. Especially since my co-worker is 29 and igniting desire in a man that young and good looking made me feel a lot more confident. Okay. Still doesn't, no excuse will ever make it right. But whenever I looked at my husband, a lot of ugly feelings came up. Guilt and remorse for hurting him if he will ever find out. The thought of how heartbroken I would be if he had done that with another woman. Not just the physical act, but the feeling a younger woman could give him. That I couldn't. I would have no words. It took me a while to realize how extremely disrespectful my actions were to him, our marriage and our family as a whole. It always does, for some reason. The cheaters always take a good minute until they think, oh, I might be hurting my partner. I ended the relationship with my co-worker and waited for a weekend where our son was at his grandparents' home. Restrictions here are already allowed that. Okay, I'm guessing this came out in 2020 or 2021, but no. Every time I read something, it's like restrictions or like COVID restrictions. I'm like, bro, that feels so long ago, but also like it's crazy that was a thing. I sat my husband down and told him that I cheated on him. At first, he thought I was joking, but then he got angry, called me names and asked questions. Some I answered, why, how long, etc. Some were just inappropriate. I think what's inappropriate is you cheating. He asked me if I expected him to forgive me, and I basically told him that he must decide that. I told him I would work happily with him on this marriage and absolutely try everything to gain his trust back, but I would also be supportive as possible when he wants the divorce. He asked me again if that's what I want, and I told him I definitely don't want to lose him. He said he had to think about it. That night, I slept on the couch. I felt very vulnerable. The next day, he said he'll give me another chance, and I was very happy about that, but that faded very quickly. 4 months are over since then, and he basically ignores everything. His only demand was that I quit my part-time job because of my co-worker, and that I get a new phone number so my co-worker can't contact me anymore. Reasonable. Since then, we only talk about the most necessary stuff. He hardly looks at me or shows affection. Whenever I only touch his arm, he brushes me off. I brought the topic up a few times. He absolutely refused to talk about it. I mentioned therapy. He refused again. I even suggested that he can have a revenge affair because I became already very devastated. But that was a big mistake. He looked at me even more disgusted and said, I am not like you. That hurt me, but he is not wrong. Yeah. Honestly, from what I'm hearing is he obviously doesn't want to work on it, but all I can say is that he is causing you basically similar pain. Like, I wonder if he's doing it on purpose, like ignoring her. But if I was him and he didn't want to work on this, I would just leave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like for him himself, if he doesn't want that, he should just leave. And if he's not, you could be living your life so much better than just keeping her around. But for her, you deserve it. When I asked him when we will begin to work on our marriage or when he will be ready to talk about the affair, he said he doesn't know and maybe never. I can't blame him for his feelings, but I also think he maybe just wants to stay married because of his work, very conservative environment, and of course our son. Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if there's like a reason. I know, I forgot they had a son already. Yeah, okay. I love him and I never wanted to hurt him. As weird as it may sound, the affair was something I needed. It was not meant against him. That's a bit contradictive to what you just said before. You literally said that this man gave you everything your husband couldn't. So, I don't know. It's not like against, like, I don't know if you want to go out and hurt him, but it has to do with him. I hate when the cheater says, like, I never wanted to hurt my partner. Like I didn't think of him. Like, how could you not think of that when you're doing something that, like, is, like, the worst thing you can possibly do to your partner? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand people when they be like, I didn't think of him. You should be thinking of him when you do it then. Like, obviously you don't care for him enough. But I begin to resent him again, and I don't want to cheat again or live in a loveless marriage. Even when taking our son into account, until he moves out, there will still be 8 to 10 years left. I told him that already, but he always just says, you really expect me to forgive you after this short amount of time? I try to tell him that this isn't about forgiveness. It's about the first steps of moving forward. But he doesn't understand it. I wish I knew what he was thinking. Like, is it to get back at her, or is it he does want to try? Like, there's so many different factors. Like, I know 4 months doesn't sound much, but it's already really tiring. I can only imagine his feelings are much worse. After all, I betrayed him deeply. But it can't go on like that forever. I thought about giving him an ultimatum of 2 more months for a decision, or I'll file for divorce. He would have some free time over Christmas and New Year's Eve, and then January to think about everything. Would that be a mistake? But I clearly don't know what else to do. I don't want to live like strangers until our son moves out, but I also don't want to lose him. Obviously, the thing with this is, I think even though you were the one that made this marriage horrible and you basically did the worst thing possible, if you don't want to be in a loveless marriage, leave. And you're probably also helping him, because if he hasn't left you or even tried to forgive you, he's either tried to hurt you or he's doing it for, like, the reasons like you said, his work, your son. Like, it might be helping him just to leave him anyways. Like, you might be helping him with having a better life, because I don't know, he obviously doesn't want to really work on it from what we're grasping. I know it's only 4 months, but, like, to not even talk to you for 4 months and only about, like, your son basically and relatively important things, I feel like that's just kind of a sign in itself. Okay, I'm going to read a couple of comments because I've got some. The first comment says, you cheated. You made the mistake. You aren't remotely sorry about it. You say it's what you needed. Yet you expect him to forgive you and move on as quickly as possible. I think you need therapy far more than he does. I didn't even think of that, but that is really true. She really did just say it's about him. Oh, it's about her. Like, she needed it. Like, it didn't mean anything about him. Like, it wasn't meant for him. Like, but you cheated. It doesn't matter. So another comment says, you are quite a prize, aren't you? You make all the mistakes and betrayals, and he has to not only get over it, but to do so on your timetable. So another comment says, I think you already know what you want. You have to be honest with yourself and accept it. And I'm guessing this is OP replying, because it basically says, yes, I want a decision. You agree on the ultimatum, question mark? I don't know why I wrote a question mark. It's obviously a question. And the original, like, commenter replied saying, I don't agree. I don't think you want this relationship. And you just want to give 2 more months to ease the guilt. You either want to be with him or not. He might be able to change some slightly, but not 180 and be a new man. Alternatively, you don't need to get a divorce. Live apart for some time before filing paperwork. She just said, I see, thank you. Another comment says, I think you're lucky that he hasn't kicked you out, let alone making demands of forgiveness. Another comment says, you cheated, he agreed to not divorce you, and you're ready to throw the towel in after just 4 months? Yikes. You did this. He gets to be mad. He gets to be cold. He gets to feel whatever he wants about it. He gets to take the time he needs. And you have to let him have all of that, since you were the one who caused this whole situation. If you can't do that, then you divorce him. Anyways, let me know what you thought about this one in the comments. I hope it wasn't too short. I think she should just leave him and let him live his life. That's my opinion. Unless he really wants to work on it, let him do that at his own pace. But if he doesn't, I don't know. I don't think you should give him an ultimatum either, because you're rushing his grieving time, I guess, because this is his thinking, his grieving. his emotions, you're putting a timeline on it, you're putting a due date. You shouldn't be doing that. But also, I feel like he might not want to really be with you anymore. That could be another reason why he's doing this. But like you said, he's doing it for this certain stuff. Look at this cat. You come out. You can't see her. Anyways, like I said, let me know in the comments what you thought about this. What advice would you give her, if any, like I say all the time. But yeah, before I go, just want to remind you of the Patreon channel once again in the description if you want to check it out. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching once again. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you in another video, guys. Bye. This cat.